إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وأصحاب سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا خير خلق الله. Alhamdulillah, we continue in the series that we are embarking upon, where we're talking about death and all the sections or all the topics regarding death. And today, inshallah, we begin on chapter number 3 of this great book of Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, within his great book, the Ihya Ulumuddin, and Kitab al-Maut, the book of death. And in this third chapter, he talks about the pain, the agony, and the violence of death, the dard and the absolute terror that is death, and the experience of death, what it will be like. And also those halat and those states which are preferable upon the coming of death. So, firstly, he talks about the idea of preparation. If any of us was to go upon a journey or was to set out or embark upon a journey, and we go through these journeys in life as well, many times we will travel and we will go on a safar. How many days or weeks prior to the safar do we make preparations? We make khas preparations and we make khas tayariyan for this safar and for this travel. But how foolish is insan that in all the travels and the journeys of life he makes preparations. But how foolish is the insan that he does not prepare for his death. That travel and that journey which every single one of us 100,000,000% will take and embark upon, insan cannot do tayyari and make preparations for this amazing journey, the suffer of death from this world to the next, to the world of the grave. And then the Imam, he speaks about pain and the concept of pain. And he says that no extremity from which the spirit is absent can feel pain. And he says that there is no part of the jism of the body from which the ruh and or the spirit is absent, is disconnected, that part cannot feel pain. We feel pain due to our ruh, our spirit, being attached to our body. For example, somebody goes to the hairdressers, and the hairdresser, he gets the thread out, and he begins to thread away, and this thread, it plucks out the hair. This plucking and pulling out of the hair, it is painful due to that hair, that part of the body where the hair is being pulled out from, that part being linked to the ruh. Okay? For example, somebody accidentally touches something hot. Somebody's hand passes a fire. Wherever the hand or wherever the body will touch that fire, it will burn. It will be painful for the individual. Now, this burn, it will cause pain to those extremities, those parts of the body that touch the fire. Due to those parts of the body being linked to the ruh, that individual will feel pain. Similarly, if somebody was to cut fruit with a knife and accidentally they cut through the fruit and they cut a piece of their flesh on their finger, and that part began to bleed and that skin opened up. That area where the skin opened up, that area shall sting and the person shall feel pain. Why does the person feel pain? Due to the fact that that area is linked to the ruh. Now, then Imam Ghazali he talks about the ruh causing the being the main purpose of pain, and then the ruh being the thing that Malakul Maut takes away and snatches away from the body. But he talks about this pain and he says the pain felt during the throes of death, however, assails the spirit directly. The ruh is taken directly and engulfs every one of its fractions. Every part of the ruh is taken. Okay? The dying man feels himself pulled and jerked from every artery, every nerve, every part and joint, from the root of every hair and the bottom layer of his skin, from his head to his foot. Every single part he shall feel the pain of death. No other pain can be described like this. When we feel pain, like I gave the two examples, a part of our hand touches something hot and our hand is burnt. We drink a very hot drink and our tongue is burnt. We will feel the pain in those extremities. Or we cut a finger and the finger will sting and burn and we have pain in that finger. But when the soul is removed from the body, the angel of death, Malak al-Maut, takes the soul from that body. Every artery, vein, nerve, every joint, every single hair that is attached to the body, every part shall feel the pain when the soul is ripped out of the body. This is the extent of the pain that is death. How will we suffer that pain? How will we take and be able to face that pain if we are not going to do tayyari for that pain, if we are not going to prepare for that pain? And how do we prepare for that pain? Earning the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fulfilling the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fulfilling everything that we need to do to earn the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is how we should make tayyari. And then he compares, the Imam, how beautifully does he compare the cry and the scream of the person who is stabbed. He says, the man who has been stabbed cries out. The person who has been stabbed, he cries out only because there is some remainder of strength in his heart and tongue, while the voice and screams of the dying man are cut off due to the severity of his pain. When somebody is stabbed, he's able to scream due to the strength he still has within him. But nobody dying has ever screamed. The dying man does not scream. He is in so much pain. The severity of that pain is so much that the dying man, he doesn't make a sound. The dying man, he cannot scream. He can't scream because when we scream, that noise that we make, it's a form of ease for us. It's a means of ease for us in that pain. But the dying man, the severity of death that will be such that that individual cannot scream. And then he says, as his suffering bears down upon him, as his suffering bears down upon him and mounts up in the heart until it reaches every part, breaking his every strength and enfeebling all his limbs, leaving him with no strength left to cry for relief. And when that pain takes over, he has no strength left whatsoever to cry. He has no jaan in him left to cry. He has no energy to cry or scream. This is the reality of death, leaving him with no strength left to cry for relief. It overwhelms his mind and deranges it. It strikes dumb his tongue and it enfeebles his extremities. He longs to be able to seek relief in groaning, screaming, and calling for aid, calling for help, but he cannot. He can't scream, he can't groan, he can't moan, he can't call for help either. He longs to do these things, but he can't because he has no energy facing this experience of death, facing this challenge of death. Should there remain in him any strength at all, a lowing, rattling sound is audible from his throat at the time the spirit is being pulled out from him. Just a small rattling sound in his throat. That's all he has John for. That's all he has energy for. A small rattling sound in his throat that is heard when that soul is being taken out of his body. Now, this is the reality. This is the reality of the dying man. His color changes. उसका रंग बदल जाता है to a grayish color. Yeah, he looks lifeless already until it is as though the dust, which is the root of his nature, has made itself manifest. That which we are created from matti. And when the dying man, when his soul is taken out, he turns grey. It's as though the matti that he was created from, that matti has finally shown itself. That dust that Allah Ta'ala created him from, that dust has finally shown itself. Okay? Each vein is drawn out individually as the paint spreads through his surface and his innards. Okay? Until his eyes, they roll up. The eyes roll up on top of their sockets, and his lips are drawn backwards, and his tongue contracts to black. Okay? His tongue contracts to its root, and his fingertips, they turn greenish and black. So do not ask concerning a frame from which every artery is being pulled. For one of them alone to be pulled, his agony would be intense. If one artery was of ours was to be pulled in one different direction, we will be in extreme agony. But when the soul is being pulled out, every single artery, every single nerve is being pulled in various directions. And the pain of it, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can help us through that pain. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the ability to prepare for death. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to make this the sufficient tayyariyah for our death so we can face an easy death, so that we can face Malakul Maut with ease. Ameen wa akhiru da'waya. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. آمين الحمد لله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله يا رب العالمين يا إله العالمين. For this brief moments that we have sat talking about the aspects of the deen, talking about things that we can improve ourselves with, Ya Rabbal Alameen, accept these brief moments. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, make every moment that we spend in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a means of us attaining your rida, your pleasure, a means of attaining your maghfirah and your rahmah. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, all those who are unwell, all those who are bimar, all those who are going through difficulty. Rashid's brother who is going through an operation, a major operation. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, we do dua for all of them, grant them shifai kamila ajila. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, grant them ease in their difficulties. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, grant them asani in whatever operation it is they are facing. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, all those who are going through difficulty, all those who are going through mushkilat, whether it be at home or whether it be at work. Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are Mufattih al-Abwab, you are Ahall al-Mushkilat, you are the one who opens doors and you are the one who grants solution to our problems. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, grant us all the solution to our problems. Ya Rabbal Alameen, grant us all the solution to our problems. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ilaha Alameen, we ask you that you give us the tawfiq to be better people. We ask you give us the tawfiq to be better mu'mineen, to be better believers. Ya Rabbal Alameen, allow us to bow down to you in ruku and sujood 5 times a day punctually. Ya Rabbal Alameen, make us 5 times namazi in congregation. وصلى الله تعالى على رسوله خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So it's a scary topic.